Cash-a-maniacs.
GeoGearHeads.
Well, we wish you a very warm welcome to the 240th episode of the GeoGearHeads. I'm the Bad Cop, and with our host, Daryl W4, today we're bringing you an episode about smartphone caching. In fact, we've done 4 others of these. We thought it was time to update it, so this is smartphone caching number 5.
Yeah, you know, it's not like this stuff really changes all that much, but at the same time, as I was putting together the show notes, I realized, you know what? A lot has changed since the first time we put this stuff together, so we're going to take a look at it once again. And to help us out, we've got Scott Burks and Shorty Knits joining us.
Hello.
Hello, boys. How are you?
And as Chris likes to say, you are the marketing department for Cashly, Mr. Burks.
I love my Cashly, man. Love it. It is still by far the best caching app out there. I recently tried to use the new one again, and compared to Cashly, it's just it just doesn't compare. Yeah, did you guys see the new one? What's going on with the new one? With the now they have the
GeoTours.
The
GeoTours.
I have not actually looked at the support for it yet, but I'm on the I gotta get a good look at this for West Bend next weekend.
No, don't bother. Just my opinion. So here I looked at it today because I saw the update with it. So I took a look at it, and you have to go into search, and you can search by name, you can search by GC number, you can search by number.
It took us like 5 minutes to figure out it's actually in search.
Yep.
It's not like.
Yep. I thought maybe it would be like a menu item in the main menu sort of a thing. No, you have to go to search, and then you have to know the GT number.
I know. I heard about that. It's
really?
Yeah. You can't say show GeoTours near me yet. Anyway, maybe they'll add that in. Hopefully.
I'm expecting that's coming because the GT number. Who the heck knows the GT number?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I found one, and I used the example number.
Yeah. Well, and how are you going to know that there's even a GeoTour anywhere around you to find if it's not going to list it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's the point of it? Is more about
Right.
What exactly is the point of it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So
great.
I'm thinking this is like the stopgap as they start building it in.
Hope so.
Something.
But meanwhile, Cashly, last weekend, she sent me a PQ from my or GPX. Was it a PQ?
Well, no. What happened was I used CGeo to download caches offline directly from the app, and then export it as a GPX file, threw it into my Dropbox, shared my Dropbox file with Scott onto his Dropbox. He was able to download it directly into Cashly, and we had all the same caches.
Didn't even touch a computer.
Yep.
Yeah.
God bless the internet.
Yeah, and that's something we should probably talk about a little bit more. But this episode is not going to be about the apps, even though we're talking about apps right now. Yeah, no. What we're
you talked about
really
a process.
looking for. Yeah. Right. Well, we've talked about the caching apps. What we really want to talk about is this stuff about how to get the most out of your smartphone caching.
Mm-hmm.
But Limax in the live Q&A has a comment that we just have to share.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new slogan for the geocaching app.
Spit out her water just for the
I noticed. So Limax, you have a winning slogan here. It's the geocachinger app, making muggles one geocache at a time.
Yes. So just for the record, there's no Pokemon talk on this tonight, right? Just so I should know. Right.
Pokemon isn't a geocaching app.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure.
It's a smartphone app, and we're talking about smartphone geolocation, right?
Right. Maybe in the after show. After Patreon show is all about Pokemon.
Now, I do have to say, I do use the GeoCachinger app only for the messaging. I recently had an Earth cache published, and that's a great way to communicate with people. So I do open it from time to time for that, but really, that's my limit as to what I use it for.
And I 100% agree, and I'm the same way. The only reason I still have it on my phone is because of that messaging. the messaging part of it.
Well, and you get the push notifications, which is just awesome when you're out in the field trying to go, hey, I can't find this,
Mm-hmm.
here, I'm going to message the owner. I'm here right now, in the area, blast me an okay if you want me to replace this cache for you that's, trashed all over the road or whatever.
I mean, I still have the Legacy app still on my phone that I haven't opened in months. I can't remember the last time I opened it, but it's just there strictly for nostalgic sake. I don't have the heart to delete it. I paid $10 for it, but other than that, I don't even open it.
Ooh, so it's more of an investment than a tool. Yeah.
It's just one of those things, It's it's the same reason I have the same app. Daryl, what's the first app I ever owned for geocaching?
Was that the Gopher?
Gopher. I mean, that's on my phone. I don't use it, but it's on my phone because I have to have it on there. It's
and you just haven't found a use yet for that 48K it took.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, but honestly, Caching is really the only one I use now. I don't use any of the others at all.
Now, Limax is saying that he's had issues with the geocachinger app and messaging. It's actually losing about half of his messages.
Really?
I think that's more geocaching than the app because
Probably.
I was having problems with it, and I went to the website, came up with the same thing. I could see the conversations were there, but the messages within the conversations were gone.
Yeah, I think they're having some issues lately with their messaging. I had one day where I couldn't get into the messaging from any of the web browsers.
Mm-hmm. Really?
And then now if you go to it from Firefox, or I shouldn't say now, last time I tried going to it from Firefox, it came up and told me that the messaging center was not available. Or this feature is not available on your browser. Please switch to a supported browser.
Really?
Weird.
And you were on what? Are you on Firefox?
Firefox, the current build of Firefox. Not the beta, the current. So, I think they've just been having some issues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
perhaps they're building out the feature more, and that's causing a few disruptions. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're hoping for improvements and not just failures.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's something like they're beefing up the server infrastructure for it. And yeah, I really would like to have the messaging broken out maybe as its own app, in part because half the time when I get those pop-up notifications and try to go into the app, the messaging doesn't work. And then I've lost the notifications. So.
I've never had it not work on me. I've never had it fail on me.
I've only had that recently.
I mean, yeah, it's because every time granted, I don't get messages that often. I guess I'm not as popular as Daryl, but when it does, it seems to work. I've never
I'll send
had
you
any
one,
issues.
Scott.
Please do, because no one else does.
Are we friends on geocaching? Who knows?
I don't think so. Are we?
And
I don't think me and Daryl are friends. I mean, Daryl even friends?
I thought we were, but we might not be. It's not like we're using CGO, the only app that actually uses the friends.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the point of friends
unless you're in
the
CGO?
Exactly, in the geocaching
it's
official
one of those features
stuff.
they started to build out and then never finished, essentially.
And then realized Facebook does it better.
Well, it was supposed to do, as I understand it, a lot of the stuff that CGO is doing with it, like, find the caches that my friends haven't found.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have some hope that we'll see that feature implemented in the new search.
Right. Hey, folks, did you go out and find a geocache this weekend to earn a souvenir?
I did.
Yep.
How did you view that souvenir?
I haven't.
What do you mean?
Have you seen the souvenir you earned?
I did, yes. I went to the geocaching app to make sure it locked it in, yes.
Which geocaching app?
I went to the old
one.
I have opened the old one.
The
You're
old
right.
one.
I did. I went to the old one. That's right.
I was going to say, I went to the web page.
Exactly.
No, I went to the old.
I haven't even checked.
I opened the old one. You are absolutely correct. Yes.
Yeah, there's no modern geocaching app that shows.
The souvenirs.
Just a Legacy does.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and
Is Legacy officially
does.
is Legacy officially dead now?
I think it is officially
I think it might be.
unsupported.
Unsupported. Okay.
Right.
AKA dead.
It was pulled a little while ago, and I think it was back in June that they officially ended support for it.
So it may be comatose, not quite dead. It's on life support.
You can't buy it anymore, right?
No, they did that months and months ago.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So you can still download it from the app stores if you already had it.
I tell you, I wonder what the upswing. Bringing it back to Pokemon Go for a second, I wonder what the upswing on people playing geocaching now is. I wonder if it's another resurgence because of this game.
It's a huge resurgence because of the game.
Yes.
Looking at several articles, the Geocaching HQ staff has been overwhelmed with media requests for interviews because of Pokemon Go. They're calling geocaching the grandfather of Pokemon Go.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Really,
and
that's
I'm
kind
a
of
little bit suspicious that some of the problems that we've been seeing with the messaging is due to the increased load from a lot of the people who had gotten into Pokemon Go and maybe had the geocaching accounts, had done it before, and said, you know what, I'm going to go play geocaching again because I've got the smartphone anyway. I can download the app.
And I'm out.
Yeah, and I'm already out anyway.
Right, already out.
So, why not just get a cache while I'm at it?
Yeah, Shorty Nits loves doing that.
Okay, for anyone not watching the video, go back, about 10 minutes in, go look for that Shorty Nits look at Mr. Burks there. Well, let's get into some of the caching with the smartphone tips. And first off, we have to address the battery life issue because that's something everyone always complains about. And one of the big things that the GPSR users always throw in our faces as smartphone users, well, you can't last a full day. Well, that's not entirely true. So the first thing we should probably mention is the obvious thing, and that's the external battery packs and battery cases. And they're very different for very different things. My preference is really to use the battery cases because it's just one small thing and I don't have the cords running all over, but that's not available for most smartphone models. It's only the most popular ones. So, any iPhone is going to have a smartphone case available. Most of the Galaxy
you got to
phones.
remember also the beauty of that is that the older the phone is, the cheaper the case is. The brand new case phones are over $100. But Daryl, if you remember when I was looking for one for my son who had an iPhone, we just got my son an iPhone 5, and I actually contacted you because you're the the guru of nerd stuff, and I said, hey Daryl, what should I do about a case for my kid? And I found this $20 one, literally $20 on Amazon. What do you think of this? And you're like, yeah, that's good,
Yeah, that was a reefer Mophie too. So one of those more expensive ones, just cheaper because they dropped a new battery in it most likely.
Well, that's also it's an older model. I mean, it's the iPhone 6s is the most current phone now, so it's
and that's one of the other things is the 6 and the 6s are the same case, so you can get the same battery case for both. When I got my first battery cases for the iPhone 5, they were pretty darn expensive. I didn't get a battery case initially for the 6 because again, it was like $100. Now, if you get a battery case for the 6 or 6S, I'm finding, brand new 3,000 milliamp hour batteries, every day on Amazon for like $30. And they're decent cases. I've got a nice, I wouldn't call it like a weatherproof, but it's kind of a rugged case that I think I paid $26 for.
Big spender.
Was that for a 6?
That's for the 6, yeah.
Right.
So when it's been out for about 6-7 months, the phone, you're going to find that the prices plummet. And
even the older phones are even plummeting. I mean, there's still stock for the iPhone 5 for these external cases.
Well, and
so
I've seen some of the clearance. And I've seen some of the clearance iPhone 4 cases for like under $10. It's like get these things out of here.
Jesse needs one of those.
Need batteries.
Jesse's battery lasts for like a half an hour.
Well, that's because I'm 2 months away from my contract being up, so it's literally time for a new phone. I think Android, they know when you're nearing, and so they push some update to your phone to just make your battery die instantly to make you buy a new phone.
It's horrible.
Pretty sure that's how it
do
works.
that for iOS as well.
No, I have an iPhone 6 here, and my battery ever since if I do not periscope when I'm out in the field, and let's be realistic, we all know I periscope out in the field, but if I don't, I can go a full caching day on my phone. But if I periscope, just inhales my battery, So if I don't do it, but I usually do, so I have to usually I bring an external with me, or something in my bag. But if I don't, I can go a full day, if on it. So it's actually a pretty good battery, and that's with running the geocaching app full time.
Right.
Well,
so
and
the new iPhone's coming out.
We hope.
They're prepping it, right? So that means
Yeah.
a new iOS. I bet you when this new iOS
Yeah.
releases, your battery cuts
Oh
in
well, yeah,
half.
of course. It's an older. Yeah, it's going to be. It's an iPhone 6. Yeah, they wanted. I'm sure
Exactly.
there's a little stopgap in there going inhale the iOS, the iPhone 6 battery.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of tips that we're going to talk about in a while for saving batteries so that you don't necessarily even need to have these cases. But I always want to have a case, or not necessarily a case, but an external battery handy. And they have the little like lipstick size batteries that I always carry around with a little cable.
Yeah, that's
whenever I'm out caching, just as that emergency backup kind of thing, because
Yes.
it's small, it's easy to carry.
And for the record, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you can get that at Target for $5.
Right,
Yeah,
and they're
$5.
charged up, so
Totally works.
And
I have it in my bag.
Here's what I really found hysterical last winter. Just this past winter, we were out caching, went into I want to say it was like a 7-Eleven, just your average convenience store. And what's the number one argument that a lot of people use for using AA batteries is you can
Get
always
them
find them everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
They didn't carry any batteries.
Wow.
What,
They
the 7-Eleven
carry-
didn't carry batteries?
No batteries. They're like, no, we stopped selling those a couple of months ago because no one was buying them.
It's an American.
Damn right on American.
They had an entire rack of the batteries, the external battery chargers.
Wow.
So I could go in, I could get a charge for my phone. I couldn't get a set of batteries for my GPS.
Incredible.
Interesting.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna bring up the Land Monkey come
You got
September.
our
when I'm
reboot,
back.
yeah.
Good luck finding batteries anywhere. Stop at your Costco. Get a carload of batteries. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you just have to carry them with you. But yeah, that's math that's been changing as more and more people are using them, and you find them all over the place now. People who you don't think would need a battery are carrying the batteries in their purse, or I've seen them sitting in the console of people's cars.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just people are carrying them around.
It's becoming like you said, that lipstick one. I mean, I got it at Target for $5, literally $5, and it will take my phone from dead to 80%. Is what I checked it to.
And that's
So
all
that's
you
pretty
need.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you need
But-
it for. I mean, it's an emergency. It's
So
an emergency.
you guys are seeing batteries in the wild. I mean, I carry mine around, and people go, "Oh, where did you get that? I've never seen anything like that before."
Well, bringing it back to Pokemon,
Yep.
now you're seeing them everywhere.
Everyone.
Everyone's got a. I see these guys with in their backpack a little,
The cables, yeah.
a cable.
See, and that's why I like having the battery cases, is because it does make it a nice small container that you carry around just like you would your phone. You don't have that tether. And I learned back in the early days of Ingress, I was doing it on like a Nexus 7 tablet. And I was tethered to, remember those power bags that I reviewed? I had it tethered to one of those. So I was walking around for about 2 hours and it would kill the Nexus 7, which lasted pretty well. So I had to have this backpack in order to make it through a day of, the couple of hours of playing Ingress. And it was really obnoxious because I kept having the thing get wrapped around my sleeves. I was wearing a winter jacket a lot of the time for that too. So I've got it wrapped around my sleeves, getting caught on gloves and all kinds of stuff. So I just really like having that case. The downside of those cases, though, I have more overheat problems with the case, because when you have the case there, you can't get the cooling.
Yeah.
And your battery that's generating heat as it's discharging to charge up your battery, which is now creating heat because it's charging, you've got this heat effect that can get really bad, especially in the summer.
Yeah, I was having that with my LifeProof case. I was getting if it was really hot out, it was overheating my phone because the phone can't breathe.
Yep.
Right.
So it would if it was like 90 degrees, 95 degrees, my phone would eventually. Sorry guys, my phone would eventually shut off, or be like
It's
the too hot
green
thing.
with
Right.
you, Scott.
Yeah, well, on the iPhone 5, I had that was the last phone I had that was black. Because if I put that thing on the dashboard mount, because that's when I really started using it as my nav GPS driving. If I put that on the dashboard mount, it would overheat and blank out the screen, basically. It wouldn't overheat to the point where you got the little thermal warning and you can't use your phone anymore. But it'd be completely unreadable.
Really?
So I switched to the white phone and didn't really have the problem.
And now you went
unless
to
I have
rose
the battery
gold.
case. No. Renee wanted the rose gold, but she had to get the white. Which, I don't like because we now have the
Two white
same
phones.
phone that, it's the same case. She has the S, I have the, just standard old 6. But if you don't have the, we always carry a case on ours because, I like the extra grip of the case. I don't necessarily like having the case on it. I just like having, something that much more grippy.
Yeah,
So I
Jesse
don't
got
have
me.
phones.
Jesse got me an external battery. I think for Christmas last year, was it? Is that what it was?
I think so, or maybe 2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago. Yeah, that is really good. It's really good. It's a Z-Loop power brick. It's one of those power brick ones, and and we can get through 4 loads, right?
Yeah, I mean we can both. It has two USBs on it, so we can both plug into it and fully charge our phones twice out of it.
Yeah, those are nice.
That's what I like about the external batteries rather than a case.
Oh, yeah.
You can share power. If you
Yep.
change phones, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's universal. You can charge a phone. You can charge a GPS with it.
Oh, and you can run a GPS off of it, which
Right.
I've done that too. And I keep one of those big power bricks in the backpack with my water bladder, which, you make sure that you've got the two separated well enough.
Oh, good point.
You don't want any kind of, fireworks happening.
Electric water?
But what I'll actually do is take that battery and charge up a battery case.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have the battery case on the phone.
Right, and then I understand.
When I get down to about 50% on the phone, I pull the battery case out, top off the phone, put the battery case back into charge. It's not necessarily the best way to handle your batteries, but it assures that I'm going to have power all the time when I'm on the trails. It's only when I'm on the trail do I do it this way.
So, Daryl, you're actually using a battery to charge a battery to charge a battery.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm more surprised that he
Think of
actually
the
uses a phone
entropy.
he's using a phone on the trail and not a GPS.
I bring the GPS and I just never use it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, and like the last time I was on the trail, I think we talked about this about a month ago. The GPSs were all over the place. The phones were dead on. And that was kind of the final straw. At
Really?
that point, I just didn't carry the GPS anymore.
Well,
It's so much less accurate.
That happened to us in the woods once, where we were in the woods and I had my GPS and we couldn't come across it, and I wasn't getting a good reading on my GPS was giving me like 40 50 feet. I'm like, let me pull out the phone, and the phone was giving me its usual 16 feet.
Yeah.
Which got me a lot
The
closer.
difference, though, is this is one of the rail trails. So it's got great cell coverage. I'm sure it was still able to see, even though if it couldn't pick up any of the Wi-Fi SIDs, the SSIDs, I think it could still see enough of it that it helped to stabilize. And the GPSs were bouncing all over the place, and there were some power lines nearby. So probably that was creating some interference.
Sure.
But the fact that the smartphones were always within about 10 feet, and the GPSRs were driving all over the place. It's like I'm standing in one spot. Okay, now I'm over here 40 feet away, and I'm coming back, and going this direction 60 feet. And the 30, the eTrex 30, was better than the 62 was. And I think that that's because the 62, if I remember, does not have GLONASS. The 30 does.
So it had another GPS signal to
It had
help
another
it.
location to help it stabilize.
Right. And in that, I figure I'm just going to stand here, and eventually the geocache will come to me, according to the GPS.
Right.
You stand still, and you just watch
Except
the distance shrink.
Except that we were always kind of just walking around it. We never got to the cache.
And then
But that's one of the reasons why the cell phones, the smartphones, can be so much more accurate in especially those urban settings because it's using at least any current smartphone. Yeah, I think it was like the iPhone 4 and up have GLONASS support. So you have the GPS system, you have GLONASS, you have the cell tower triangulation, and you have the Wi-Fi location information. So you have 4 different systems that it's accessing to quickly get you close and to refine that signal. So that's how the smartphones can get a much quicker lock from a cold boot, is that they've got a good idea of where they are from the cell towers to begin with. So then they're just using the actual satellites to hone that in and to get you a good, accurate location.
And the NSA is using all that information to know exactly where you are.
I saw that Will Smith movie.
Yeah, it's real. I saw it on TV.
One last note on the batteries, though. I mentioned it last time we talked about smartphone power options, and I have them. I don't use them as much as I used to, but PowerSkin Poppins, P-O-P'-N, it's like a cool hybrid because you have a battery with suction cups that sticks to the back of your phone, and with the case on my phone, which is a leather case, it doesn't really stick, but it does lay there nicely. And then it has a little U-shaped rubber power cable that's rigid. It's not like solid, but it's firm, so that you can have a case on it. And they've got it available for Android and for iOS phones. If you're Android, you have to make sure the power cable flips the right way, even for your micro USB. So it's micro USB or Lightning, and of course micro USB is directional, so you get the right one. But then you can slap it on just about any phone, and you've got this good-sized battery that's as versatile as having your external battery pack, but almost has the same kind of comforts as the battery cases. So I wish I saw more of these things out there.
Yeah, I remember you had those, I think, last year.
I almost always carry them with me whenever I'm going caching with people, with the 3 different cable options, because it actually pops off and you can interchange them. Because that way, if someone has an issue, here, go take this and carry it around.
What's the cost on those?
It depends on which one you're getting, because there are different models, and which cable you're getting. And they do have a new version, but you can get them on sale sometimes for as little as about $40. But I think they're averaging about $80.
Yeah, the manufacturer website has them for $80. So obviously,
is it
you can get them cheaper.
Is it an iPhone Android hybrid, or do you have to buy an iPhone 1 or an Android?
You buy it for whichever connector you need. So if you're a Lightning, you have to get the Lightning. But
so
if
you can't mix and match kind of thing.
No, but if you have 2 of the original style Poppins, I think the new one actually has a hardwired cable. The Poppin 3, I think they call it.
Yeah, it's on the battery itself.
Right.
It's got a cable that comes off the battery and plugs into your phone.
Right. But the older ones, the battery or the cable would come off the battery and you can interchange them. I think they stopped doing that because, like I had one of them come apart on me and I had to get it replaced under warranty. So by tying it into the battery, it makes it a little bit more durable.
You can still get the Poppin 2. They currently are doing the Poppin 3. So the Poppin 2 is $50, and it's what you've been describing.
Okay, so the original Poppin and the Poppin 2. The Poppin 2, if I recall, is actually the bigger one. I want to say it's about 3,000 milliamp hours, whereas the original Poppin is somewhere around 2.
Which is enough to keep you going.
Absolutely. For cachers, you shouldn't need much more than that, especially if you use some of the battery-saving tips that you're probably used to us saying by now. We always used to say, turn off the Wi-Fi. That was, pretty much a given. But as we were just mentioning, that only really works if you're away from the access points, because the Wi-Fi actually helps improve your accuracy and can lower the battery draw depending on what phone and OS you're on. So in most cases, leave the Wi-Fi on. If you're going out in the woods, turn the Wi-Fi off. That's my general recommendation.
I never have the Wi-Fi on.
Really?
I end up turning off my Wi-Fi all the time, and Scott, you might be doing it for the same reason. I have AT&T, and there's all of these AT&T Wi-Fi access points that it automatically joins, whether you want it to or not. AT&T access points almost never work. So if I connect to them, all of a sudden I have no data service whatsoever.
Right, or the Xfinity. That's
Yeah, I was going to say we also
the
have
Xfinity.
those.
No, those are annoying.
But those at least you can disable. But if you have an AT&T phone, it's in their profile that you connect to those automatically without the splash page, so that they can save on the mobile bandwidth. And that just kills me, because every time, I'm so glad that Starbucks switched away from AT&T. Not, I'm happy that they're on the Google Wi-Fi system, which actually works and has some bandwidth. But that's not why I liked it. Is now I don't have to worry when I drive by a Starbucks that I'm connecting to their network and won't be able to use data.
Right. Yeah, because it's that whole Xfinity thing is a nightmare. I mean, whenever I turn my Wi-Fi on, it's just hitting those Xfinities. Like it's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you're going to have some downtime anytime it's switching networks, regardless.
Sorry,
But
I'm reading the Q&A.
Okay, go ahead. This is from Wet Coaster. Go ahead.
Wet Coaster says, "Oh, they're popping fresh."
I wanted to ask if you could get bread with it, but
Only if you keep it charged. It's warm enough to bake its own bread.
I don't want to eat it like in a sandwich or anything, though. I would just anyway.
It literally caught my eye, and I read it. I couldn't hold the giggle, and I'm sorry.
But on the similar note, turn off the Bluetooth.
Yeah, the Bluetooth. That's gonna kill your battery real quick.
Right, and that was one of those we always said turn off your Bluetooth. Period. However, there's now exceptions because of all of the wearables. You have things like the Fitbits, your fitness trackers and the like. You have your smartwatches that all connect via Bluetooth. So now you can't necessarily turn off the Bluetooth. And if you're using like the watch to help you narrow down where the cache is, that's going to end up saving you battery power anyway. So turning off the Bluetooth will cost you more than leaving it on.
Yeah, I mean, my son had his Bluetooth on. I'm like, "Why is your Bluetooth on?" He's like, "I don't know, because I have to find something." I'm like, "You're not finding anything. Turn your This is why you're no battery. Like, turn it off." Yeah, I mean, my Wi-Fi is never on. And like me and Daryl, I think you just went off. I'm on the AT&T, have as much as you want plan. So
I'm still on it for now. I don't know that they're going to let me keep that plan.
Why not?
Because they've kind of changed. Yeah, they're trying to force everyone off. They were trying to force me off the last time I renewed, and the only way I kept it is I was like, well, okay, I'm going to go switch to Sprint because they have this all-you-can-eat plan for less, and oh well, here we can make that happen. We can keep it for you.
Who, AT&T?
Yeah.
Like I always said, I mean, I'll get off when they kick me off. That's what I'm getting now. They're making it a lot more difficult. I know the next phone I have to buy. Next phone I have to buy online. I can't buy from the stores anymore.
No, yeah, and I don't know if they're going to still allow it or not, because as of last month, they supposedly stopped all subsidized phones.
Really?
Yeah, so you're going to have to buy it on the next program, which means you're still paying for all of that cost factored in for the phone if they keep that up. So that's what I'm curious. Are they going to force us off that plan, or just make us pay more, or what?
Well, if they kick me off, I'm going to Jesse. I'm going to Verizon with Jesse. So that's the plan. When they kick me off. They'll kick me off.
I'm actually thinking of switching to Project Fi, which is that Google one. Well, it's Google's multi-carrier plan.
What are you talking about? Of course.
Well, that's that Nexus 5X that I've got, and I'm paying $26 a month for unlimited calling and messaging, and that works in Canada, Mexico, and a bunch of other countries.
Well, yeah, but you live like a hot skip and a jump away from Canada. I don't.
Sure.
I don't go to Canada.
Well,
I'm with you when I'm in Canada.
Yeah. Well, not always. You visited Canada without
I've been
me.
to Canada twice. I'm 50% you when I'm there.
In any case, it's not just them. There's another one too that's escaping my mind. They're actually using multiple carriers. So it's Sprint, T-Mobile, and they've added a third, which is U.S. Cellular here in the States. And they added 40, I think it is, carriers in Europe. But you can always use the T-Mobile to roam everywhere for the data service, but you're only at the 3G speeds. That's cool.
Yeah, but it's something. You're
Yeah,
never
it's-
without data.
It's free data. It's just a little slower, and it's what we're used to. And if you're caching, you really don't need more than 3G speeds. Even the satellite maps load pretty quickly on 3G.
I don't remember 3G. It's so long ago.
I remember
I don't.
3G because a lot of the time the LTE around here stops working.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, when I was in Hawaii, we were on Edge.
Oh,
Speed
wow.
From time to time. I'm like, are you kidding? How
That's
do
like
people live like this?
that's like dial-up.
Mhm.
Like, wow.
No,
Edge.
dial-up I think was faster than Edge.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Did you try geocaching on Edge?
No, we were trying to play Pokemon Go.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
wow.
On Edge?
It's-
Ooh, that's
it's
not
worth
going
it,
to work.
There's no way that worked. There's
No.
no way.
No.
White Coast just says that he leaves the Wi-Fi turned on his phone, but that's a product of the data plans up here, and he's talking about Canada.
Canada.
And, speaking
I leave
of
the Wi-Fi on my phone. I leave it on because when I come home, there's no reason for me to use data.
No,
See,
I
I just-
usually have it on most of the time, like on my drives, to and from work now. But when I had, when Starbucks had the AT&T, I had to turn it off, or I'd lose connectivity to like podcasts and stuff,
Sure. Yeah.
and it was actually interrupting my podcasts. So
I just noticed even when I'm home, it seems it's faster. It's the LTE is faster than my Wi-Fi.
yeah, that's not uncommon.
Yeah. So it's why if I have unlimited, why not just leave it on? Why not just leave the Wi-Fi off?
Sure.
What happens when you use all the unlimited?
I don't. It's unlimited.
Well, the unlimited is 22 gigabytes on AT&T now,
I don't use 22.
which is good
I
for you
hover
because you'd
I
have.
hover around the 12 to 14 range.
See, lately I've been anywhere from 6 to 8, which shocked me because I had been doing about 4.
Wow.
And I don't know where
nothing.
all the extra data is coming from.
My kid does that in a week.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. But yeah, I use the Wi-Fi here and at the office all the time. So, I shouldn't be using that much. And I don't download the podcasts on the road anymore.
Mhm.
It's just I'll have like Pokemon.
I'm sorry,
sitting-
Daryl, your time's up.
I guess it is. But I'll have like Pokemon Go open on and just sitting on the dashboard so I can get those few extra steps while I'm at the stoplight.
Mhm.
God, you're like Jesse Brown. Good lord.
What? What are you accusing
We're like in
me
the
of?
car, and I'm like, we're driving. What are you doing? She's like, I just got a Pidgey.
No,
An
it was
interesting-
more like I just got a beep Pidgey. that was a swear that I beat out. In case you missed that.
Courtesy.
We were
Courtesy.
talking totally on the Pokemon Go subject, and I apologize for those not playing. But we were talking with a couple from Flint in the zoo.
Flint. Oi.
Yeah.
Were they moving to Detroit for the better
For the better water?
for the better water?
No, I
Going
think
out
they were
drinking for the
bottled
evening.
water.
Let's go to Detroit. All I'm drinking is water. Give me some water that I can drink.
But they were saying that she sits in the car with both of their phones,
Mhm.
Yep.
and they'll get different Pokemon as they're driving.
Yeah. She's
And it's
yeah,
like-
she's.
Renee's
I
like,
got,
I
I
saw
got,
the
what,
same
I got
thing.
two.
You have it all
I
the
got.
time.
I got two EVs. She's like, I didn't get the EVs. How come I didn't get the EVs? What's up with that? I didn't get the EVs.
What annoys Renee is when I get like the Snorlax and the
Yeah.
Pikachu's, and she's still like yet to get one.
Pidgeys and
Aw.
Caterpies.
Yeah, all she's getting are the Pidgeys, the Weedles,
Yeah.
the
Rats. Stupid rats.
Oh,
the Stevie
the
Wonder
rats.
hairballs.
I hate the rats.
I've grown to hate the Stevie Wonder hairballs now.
Yeah, well,
What, the Venonauts are those?
Yes. There's Stevie Wonder hairballs. Take a look at them.
They are now with me.
Stevie
Yeah.
Wonder's hairballs. All right, so back to the battery saving tips. We definitely want to turn off, any of the mail polling, any of the notifications that you can afford to turn off. Turn that stuff off.
Any push or pull notifications.
Exactly, because that's all running the radios. That's all going to take more power. Turn off your background apps that you don't need. Close those. And this is one thing that I do quite frequently is I'll get like, okay, the cache is roughly over here, and turn off the screen and just walk that way.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I like caching by smartphone. When you've got the GPS in your hand, and you just tend to like, okay, I'm following the arrow. Look out for this bench, that you're about to crash into. But
just walk over the bench; it's fine.
And I don't have that with the smartphones because a lot of it is I use the satellite maps to get those reference points. So I'm like, okay, there's a picnic area, about 500 feet that way. I'm going to go there, and then I'll check the phone again. And by turning the phone off, you drastically improve the battery life.
While that's true, Daryl, I find it annoying of how I turn the phone back on, and I'm a mile and a half away. Oh no, wait! Now I'm 30 feet away again.
Yeah, I was going to say that's.
So what I prefer to do is turn down the screen brightness,
which doesn't work on all phones.
Really?
Some phones that makes a difference on battery life. Some phones it doesn't. It depends on the screen technologies.
Only Daryl would know that.
Yeah,
isn't that adorable?
Well, we've had similar conversations before, and we were talking with I think it was it Brian? No, it wasn't. Who? Nate. I think it was Nate. We were talking about that. If you have like an OLED screen, then doing things like putting darker colors on the screen affects your battery life and improves the performance of your battery. If you have a lot of the IPS phones, turning down the brightness can help, but the colors on the screen make no difference whatsoever. Because it's using the same amount of power no matter what the color is. An OLED screen is actually pushing more power through the screen to get the brightness and everything. So by changing the brightness, being like colors, you're changing the battery consumption. And so I think Pentile is the same way.
We should be able to toggle day and night mode. That would actually save us money. Yeah.
Now, what does the new iPhone have? That new, I know it clicks in for me for 1 a.m. where it turns like orange or yellow.
Oh, iOS, the night shift, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I turned that. That doesn't really save battery.
However you want to look at it.
Yeah, I have the auto brightness turned on because it actually works pretty well for me.
Oh, mine's turned on as well. Yeah, the auto. Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't work on a lot of the devices I've used. I love that feature though.
I'll keep Pokemon Go going in my pocket as I'm walking campus or whatever, and my phone just gets incredibly hot because the screen says, "Oh, it's dark. Let's turn it up as bright as we can because that must help."
Oh, no, that's bad. The other thing is if you're looking for improved accuracy, like if you're going to go hide a cache or if you're looking for something, you have to leave the screen on. And well, I shouldn't say have to, because if you've got on Android one of the GPS tuners or whatever. Jesse, you probably remember what these are called because I know we had a whole conversation about this with your previous cell phone.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called.
Oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank and I didn't put any notes in here. But there's a few of those apps, and I like having those apps on my phone just because it gives you the satellite view that you're used to from the smartphone. So if you've got some of those kind of apps on there, it will keep the GPS alive even when it's in your pocket and appears to be turned off, which means you're chewing through a lot of battery power. But it also means you're going to have that GPS live. It's going to be continuously reading, so your location is going to be better.
She's looking.
I'm looking.
She's looking.
I want to say that the one I have right now is called something GPS test.
Oh, I just typed in GPS into the Google Play Store, and the suggestions are GPS spoof, GPS faker.
Wow.
Apparently, there are some Pokemon players
Wow.
who want to
I was
cheat.
going to say Pokemon has driven up the market for spoofing.
Hmm.
Wow.
Why walk when you can cheat?
Right?
Silly you getting off that couch, you fools.
Oh,
Fools.
man.
Oh.
Those are the people who strap their phone to the dog to hatch an egg,
I want to say
I've
it was
actually seen a ceiling fan attachment for your phone.
Oh my
Sit there and
God.
spin it. Really?
That's,
Ceiling fan?
you know what? That's absolutely amazing. I love that.
Well,
I
was
love
listening.
that.
I want to say it was Android Central podcast, and they were talking about Pokemon Go like the week that it came out, and they're like, if you are too lazy to get out of your car and go, spin that Pokestop or play at that gym, don't play Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
What was that one T-shirt we saw that guy wearing
What?
at the park the other day? When you were laughing, he's like, God, what was something about being lazy?
Oh, right. I don't remember. It was pretty funny.
It was like something along the lines of being lazy and some.
I'm not lazy. I just like to sit around and do nothing but play video games or something. Something along
It was
those
funnier.
lines.
It was way funnier than that.
It was very funny.
It was a funny shirt. But yeah, he obviously looked like the kind of guy who doesn't get out much, and Pokemon Go was getting him at least off the couch.
All right, talking about spoofing, Wet Coast just says Ingress has had a lot of GPS spoofers, and that was a big factor in the game for a while. But they did a lot of work to detect and block people doing spoofing.
Yeah, well, then Pokemon needs to do that.
Yeah, well, it seems
the
like
same
they
company. So
right,
Mhm.
and it's the same
engine, I assumed.
right. Well, but it seems like a lot of those features have been dumbed down in Pokemon Go and even in Ingress. Because like the walking detection used to be more sophisticated in Ingress. So if you were riding your bike, it knew that you were on a wheeled vehicle and it wasn't
Really?
counting those miles. Or kilometers, sorry. Sorry, Niantic, kilometers. So now, if you're on like Pokemon Go, it's counting, anything. I think it's 15 miles an hour or less is walking.
12. I
I
thought it was 12.
thought it was 12.
12?
Could be-
Okay, maybe
could be
it's 12.
mistaken.
I'll let you know, I hatched an egg
Mhm.
sitting at a stoplight for 2 minutes. I've been there for 2 minutes. And it goes, oh? I'm like, I haven't moved!
But I did get quite the little scare going yesterday because I've got the Oregon 750 that I'm testing out now.
Mhm.
And loving, right?
And
We're
it's
all
got
eagerly-
the
we are all
well,
eagerly awaiting your review of that, Daryl. I want you
No,
to
you're
know
not.
that.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. Anyway, I had the same problem that Shermanator 18 was complaining about with her 700, and that's on iOS. When it's connected, it most of the time will throw off your location. So I'm sitting there with Pokemon Go open, and all of a sudden I'm in Spain. I'm like, oh
Buenos
god, I'm gonna
dias.
get my account
Senior
blocked.
Daryl.
That's a feature.
Well,
Do they have better Pokemon there?
That you-
They have no Pokestops. Wherever I was, they have no Pokestops.
I've got Senior Pokemon.
the Senior Pokemon.
And there's no
Senor
gyms,
Pikachu.
no Pokemon whatsoever.
No, it's not that Daryl, stopped and go, oh, I better do something because this is wrong. No, he's looking around to see what he can find while he's there.
Wet Coaster asks though, which wanders around more while you're standing still, your smartphone or your GPS?
Ooh.
I'd say my GPS, I think. Well, when I'm
Yeah.
geocaching, I would say my GPS.
Yeah.
When I'm standing
it's
still.
always my GPS.
Yeah.
I have so much less drift on the smartphone.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm under tree covers in the middle of the woods, I would say they're about the same.
I mean, if you're talking in the city, are we going to the city? I mean, city proper, like
I'm just talking,
Chicago. I mean,
suburban, like I'm in most of the time.
right,
Hands
sure.
down, the smartphone always wins.
Right,
Mhm.
but if I'm in city proper in the Chicago and in the skyscrapers, I mean,
That's
both
insane.
both of them are pretty crap. you know.
Yeah. Well, but you'll get a little bit less drift. Well, a lot less drift, but you'll get less drift with a smartphone than with most of the GPSRs.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we were down there 3 years ago. I guess, yeah, it probably was about 3 years ago now. And we brought the 62, the Oregon 400? No, it was newer than that, 450. And a couple of other models that I can't remember, but they all had the high sensitivity antennas.
Mm-hmm.
Totally useless.
Hmm.
Not even close to being useful because we were like, half a mile away.
Were they too sensitive?
Yes, and they were bouncing around at like 70 miles an hour too at times.
Really?
Yeah. So the smartphones weren't very good either. They were at least a block off, but it's a block. It's not half a mile.
Right.
And we had the satellite maps to give us a better idea of where we were and what we were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So, you get into those dense urban regions and you can't count on the GPS at all.
Mm-hmm.
But, at least if you have those satellite maps, that's a real asset. And that's one of the reasons why I started using the smartphone more than the GPSR is because of the satellite maps.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. True.
On
Now-
my phone too, I find that my GPS is more accurate the better my battery is. So like as my battery wears down, if I'm under 25% or so, I have no accuracy.
Ooh, that's an interesting observation. I wonder if it's doing a power saving mode and just lowering the sampling rate.
Or shutting things down, or is it?
I don't know. It could be,
Yeah.
but that's something new. I mean, this newest Android update really messed up quite a bit as far as the battery and
Is that Marshmallow?
GPS
What are those stupid things called? Is that
yeah,
Marshmallow?
Probably.
Daryl, what's the
yeah,
newest
they're
one?
on Marshmallow.
Yeah, Marshmallow is
they're
the current. Nougat is
Yes.
the coming one.
Marshmallow.
Nougat, I think, is due out next week.
Did you say nougat?
rumors. Nougat.
Nougat.
Oh God.
That that center of some candies you can't quite figure out what is this. Oh, it's nougat. Is that what I'm
That's-
missing?
The best thing has been listening to the tech journalists who have never had nougat, or at least don't remember having nougat. So they're going out, buying the nougat, trying it, and going, "This is disgusting. Why would you name? I don't know why you'd name anything after this."
When's it supposed to come out?
The rumor is it's coming out next week, but I don't know.
Mm.
Outside of Google, I don't know that anyone knows. And of course, even if it comes out next week,
not
It's-
not for everyone,
it's not going to be out on your phone
right?
at least for, I'd say, a week, and that's if you're on one of the carrier phones,
Mhm.
it's going to be months and months, if not years.
Maybe by the time I get a new phone.
Yeah, when's your phone
Yeah,
due?
yeah, you're on Verizon, so you're going to be like stuck on Jelly Bean for the rest of your life.
No, I actually do have Marshmallow, but again,
It effed up
it
her phone.
totally messed up my phone. It
Hey,
overheats.
that's just
all the
Verizon's
time.
quality assurance on that software.
I
They're
know.
Sure,
But
it has more
still-
quality.
Even with those issues, I'm still so much happier on Verizon than I was on Sprint. I at least have service.
I was gonna say.
See, now I
Some
understand that
service better
Sprint
than
is
none.
using Verizon towers, so that's odd.
They have started leasing the towers.
Oh,
yes.
is it newer thing? Okay.
It's
I mean,
not
we
that
would
new,
do-
but yes.
Yeah,
What's-
I
what
didn't think
state?
it was that new.
Was it Mississippi where you had
I
no
think it was
service?
Mississippi. I had
The entire
zero. I had
freaking
nothing.
state.
not
Yeah.
just no
No
data. I
service.
had
No
nothing.
service,
My
yeah.
phone was a paperweight.
Now,
Well, you had roaming turned off though, correct?
No,
No?
I
Oh.
would have happily roamed.
Interesting, because
Yeah.
I thought they were roaming on the Verizon towers. So
This is Sprint. Remember, this is when she had Sprint.
This
This,
was Sprint,
correct,
and
correct.
this was
Yeah.
the death knell for
that
Sprint.
was what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It was when we drove to Mississippi.
Yeah, right.
Right.
When we drove to go get the icon.
see, I thought even then they were roaming on Verizon, but
Mm-mm.
I think at that point they were had a mismatch in their protocols, so it could be that your phone wouldn't roam on Verizon.
Could have been.
isn't Sprint a big sponsor of NASCAR? And
Yeah.
isn't
They
NASCAR huge in the South, say, like Mississippi?
Right?
Not anymore.
But you know what? I was in Wisconsin
Yeah.
at a baseball tournament, and I had no, and 90% of the parents were on AT&T. All of us were on AT&T, and AT&T is like dead there. There's nothing there. It's like
But
it's like
Verizon
an
was
AT,
on 4G.
it's like an AT&T dead zone there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had
Crazy.
that many times. It's really very regional too. When I've seen a lot of those studies that map out the service,
Mhm.
it's amazing at how regional it is. Overall, Verizon in the U.S. has the best network.
Correct.
AT&T comes in a close second, and then it's Sprint and Verizon, or Sprint and T-Mobile are very close to the same, and it just depends on where you are. But my experience was that T-Mobile had no coverage in a lot of the areas, and Sprint did.
Right.
But if you go into certain areas, like Sprint will have coverage, but no one else does, and it's like, really?
Yeah, well, I guess in Wisconsin, and this is the Dells. When we go to West Bend,
Right.
I have signal in West Bend. I've never had a signal in West Bend. So, but we were in the Wisconsin Dells, and what's the carrier there?
U.S. Cellular.
U.S. Cellular
That's
is
the big one up there.
All the locals have U.S. Cellular.
Right. Yeah, and
That's
there's a lot of those regional carriers that do really well in those areas.
Like, talk about cornering a market. I mean,
Yeah.
Lord. Yeah.
Well, and those are the guys that keep getting gobbled up and integrated into AT&T or Verizon, and that's how they became those. It's a bunch of these other guys. But mentioning U.S. Cellular, that's one of the reasons that I got so excited about Project Fi is that they have the T-Mobile gets me the international roaming and everything too. Sprint, which I don't like that I can't do data and voice at the same time, but
that's a deal breaker right there. That is a deal breaker.
And then they're now
that
doing
was for her, yeah.
So there's three carriers that none of them are top tier, but between those three, you'll have coverage in most places that you want it.
But you can't Pokemon Go and talk to me at the same time.
No, but if I'm going to be Pokemoning Go, I'm not going to do it out in the country either.
And we're not talking to you,
there's no
Scott.
Pokestops. Yeah, why would I want to talk to you about Pokemon Go?
Right?
We're running long, so let's hit the last of the tips that I had on here for the battery consumption, and that's not just battery consumption help, but also hedge against loss of data, and that's to cache the maps and the geocaches to the app if at all possible.
Sure.
And most of the caching apps now, this is called lists. There are a lot of them that still have the access to the pocket queries, so you can create the pocket queries. But whatever it is, try to get those at least caches downloaded to the phone. You'll find that it makes it so much better all the way around, even if you do have data service, because everything's local. It just has to look it up from the phone. So it's worth doing that.
Yeah, Jesse Brown lives and dies by that.
Yep.
Yeah, I do a lot of caching with like Cachly especially, and I do switch back and forth between Cachly and Geosphere a lot because I'm still stuck with my templates and everything. And Geosphere
you love your Geosphere.
I do. I so badly want off of it because it's gonna. I know that when iOS 10 comes out, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
It's gonna be dead. So I know I have to get off of it. It's like,
yeah.
Please give me all these apps or all these templates and everything.
When is iOS 10 coming out?
It should be late September, early October.
There's one more update between now and 10.
Yeah, they have another maintenance release.
Okay.
But the new phones are always released with the new.
Yeah, I really haven't even paid attention to anything on iOS 10 or iOS 10 rather. So.
Yeah, iOS 10 is going to be a nice upgrade, but none of the features really struck me as like a winner feature. Well, there's a lot of really nice features. You can pretty much live in the lock screen. It's impressive at a lot of the changes they've made, but there's not like one feature that really stands out as I must have this. There's like 4 or 5 features that go, you know what? This makes me want to stick with iOS for another 2 years.
Wait, what?
Well, I
stick
keep
with
playing
iOS 9, you mean?
No, stick with iOS.
iOS.
As opposed to going
With
to Android.
iPhones. Yeah.
Oh.
Because almost every
Well, you
time,
you shouldn't go to Android anyway.
almost every
Why would
time
you
I
say-
He's
run
not
into,
built for Android.
almost every time I run near my contract being up, I look at it again. And right now, I love Project Fi because it's cheap and flexible. So I keep thinking that I'm going to switch to Project Fi as my phone service, but it's like, what do I want to do?
Is it not? I'm assuming Apple does not have it, right? The iPhone.
No, it's Google's. It only works on the Nexus 5, 5X, and Nexus 6.
You can grab one of those phones, you turn on its hotspot, and then you use your iPhone connected through that, and you'll be fine, Daryl.
I've thought about doing that, actually.
Yeah, you can go. You're just going to keep coming back to the iPhone. That's all. You just keep coming back.
I know.
You're addicted.
It's
Daryl,
evil.
He knows it's the better phone.
We
He just
need
keeps
to have
coming
an
back.
intervention.
We do. Make me go Android.
We're
No,
your friends,
no, Daryl. You know you want the iPhone. It's the better
Hey,
phone.
Jesse needs some help.
Well,
She's the only Android user on this podcast right now.
Right?
Or I should say full-time Android user.
The sad part is Jesse's like your go-to Android person when you need an Android person. You're like, is Jesse available to be on the show?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Scott's suddenly like an iOS dealer.
Right?
He's the iOS and Cashly evangelist.
Daryl wants a new iOS 7. Daryl got it for you. Come on, buddy. First one's free.
iOS 7?
Well, I'm sorry, the iPhone 7.
iPhone 7, okay.
I know you're going to get it. Don't act like you're not going to get it.
Oh,
Look at you.
okay. Total tangent here, because this is all totally rumors. Have you heard the latest thing about headphone jacks on the...
They're
next
gone. Yeah,
generation?
it's all Bluetooth now. Yeah.
Well, no, the latest is that the iPhone 6 style, the 4.7-inch screen, is not going to have the headphone jack, and it's not going to have dual lens camera.
Why?
The 6-inch version,
The Plus models.
the plus or 5.5-inch, is going to have a headphone jack and dual lens cameras, simply because the thing is so huge anyway.
Right.
Adding in
You
that
mean
extra
the
space
iPad
doesn't-
Nano?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like if you're gonna get one of those, why even bother with
It's
an
as
iPad?
big as my head.
It's a phablet. It really is. I mean, Aaron's my buddy. Cody Dog's got one, and it's just obscene. I mean, I can't even hold it in my hand when he's like, "Take my phone." I'm like, "I don't want to take your phone. It's heavy.
Well,
It's irritating."
And this is one of the things working against Android, as that 5X, the Nexus 5X, is just like that much bigger.
That thing's like a brick, isn't it? Isn't it like it's like holding
Well,
an
the
iPad to
5X
your ear?
No, the 5X isn't as big as the iPad, or as a iPad. I was about to call it the iPad now, as the 6 Plus or the Note. And have you seen the new Note?
No.
The Note 7 is actually smaller
Really?
than the iPad.
Is that the one that now
6
comes
Plus.
with? It comes with a little.
Comes with a stylus.
Comes with a stylus. Really, a freaking
It's in the
stylus?
last one.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
What
that's
is it? What
always
are you,
been the Note.
90s? We're going back to the 90s now.
Well,
What's that all about?
that's actually pretty cool because it's pressure
People love
sensitive.
it.
Oh, that's what I say to that.
So now you can do all of your painting on your phone.
Steve Jobs said it best. This is your stylus. This is it right here. I'm waving my finger, guys.
And
for
then they
anybody
came
listening
out
at
with
work.
the Apple Pencil.
Well, after he died, he came out with the Apple Pencil. Let's be real. This is your stylus.
Which is a powered stylus. Really, guys? Power on a stylus?
I heard it's phenomenal, though. for the
It
record.
is. It is. It's everyone.
That's right. I haven't played with it yet, but I heard it's phenomenal.
No, and I've heard from a few of the Cintiq users, which is the Wacom screen and pressure sensitive tablet, that they're switching to the iPad Pro
Wow.
because it is so much better than the Wacom. It's like, oh, that's disappointing.
As soon as the iPad came out, I knew the Wacoms were on borrowed time. I knew that they must have seen the. I hope they saw the writing on the wall.
Well, and Wacom has been doing it. This is so not geocaching, but Wacom has been doing some of the pens and stuff.
You wanted the tangent, dude. Come on. You wanted the tangent. I'm there.
All right, you know what? Why don't we wrap up this episode? Jesse, do you have any Android tips for us before we go, since you're our Android go-to? Don't use Sprint.
Wow, well done,
I
Jesse
know.
Brown. Well done.
I'm so way to put me on the spot. No,
Sorry.
no, only because I'm really frustrated with my phone right now because it's like, almost 2 years old and it's at that point where
She can't get the battery life. She's
no,
trying.
I can't get no matter what I do. I mean, I walk around with a power brick in my pocket because that's the only way I can make it
Well, and
last.
I don't remember which phone you were on, but I want to say that you ended up with one of those phones that does not have the interchangeable battery.
Yeah, no, I'm on an S5.
Oh, you're on. Oh, okay. So yeah, you should have. You could probably get one of those knockoff batteries and
Right.
improve your battery performance. Okay, another total tangent, and no, never mind. Okay, we'll save it for later.
Well, Daryl, let me throw off a quick tangent. On my iPhone 5, just before I gave it to my son, I went ahead and replaced the screen and changed the battery, and that thing lasted, a day and a half with normal use. I was like, wow, this is. I don't want to give it away now. It's like a new phone.
How'd you get a new battery on your iPhone 5?
Took it to a store and let them do it.
What did that cost? I'm curious.
It was $25 since I had to have the screen replaced anyway. He was already inside. He says I can change the battery for $25. I said do it.
Well, yeah, definitely do it. Yeah.
The iPhone 5 batteries now are under $10 if you want to just buy it and do it yourself. And there's all kinds of instructions on how to get the phone apart.
There is.
The trouble is you're not ever going to get those back unless you've practiced well,
right?
Like the guys at the store, without some kind of issues with the glue because they're glued together.
Right.
Yeah, because my son's iPhone 5 is just like the battery life. You pull the external off and it's just like you could literally watch it tick down. You know? I mean, it's just nothing.
And there's all kinds of these iStops, iFixit. No, iFixit
in the malls.
Just the website. Yeah, but in the malls.
Yeah, sure.
There's even a few companies driving around doing it now.
No way, really?
Yeah.
The company I'm with, I use. The guy started out, hey, on Tuesdays I'm in your area. Do you, come, and we have a bunch of iProducts at where I work. So, people are always breaking screens.
Sure.
So, I just take them in and on a regular basis. Here, put it on the account.
Nice. All right, so why don't we wrap up this episode? And thanks everyone for joining us, and thanks especially to Scott and Jesse for joining us today and giving us a little bit more insight into how to improve the battery on not just your batteries, but that's like all we really got around to talking about with the smartphones today.
Are you surprised? You got Scott on the show. Come on.
Well, it doesn't help that we got into Pokemon Go as much as we did.
Right?
It's taking over.
Which is relevant, though. Don't forget, if you are playing Pokemon Go, turn off the AR. You will save battery life like crazy, and the game gets a lot easier, too.
And it doesn't crash so much, either. I was noticing once I turned it off, it stopped crashing.
That might have just been an update, too.
But it's fun to take pictures with Jesse with Pokemon. That's the best part, though.
I was going to say, I missed the feed.
Put your hand out. I'm going to put a Pokemon in it.
Well, and how many of the... cats staring at Pokemon have we seen now? All right, Chris, tell us what's coming up on the next few episodes.
Well, sometime in the future, we're actually going to do an episode on smartphone caching and just not smartphone batteries. But that's several months down the road. Next week, we're talking about tech for event support. And actually, this is something I've been looking into at work, bringing in Wi-Fi for a huge event. So this is going to be interesting. On the 18th, we're talking about blogging. Who knew people still blog?
Blogging? Wow.
Yeah. On the 25th.
That's not a typo. Shouldn't it be a V?
Is that vlogging?
Yeah, vlogging.
On the 25th, we're talking with our Hendy, who is a cashier from Daryl's area, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And September 1st, we're doing another one of my favorite types of shows. It's the randomized show. This one is Randomize XLix.
So check the Cashmaniacs website at cashmaniacs.com for more of the GeoGearHeads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cashmaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cash Maniac shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cash Maniac shows. GeoGearHeads is produced by Chris Sofenauer and Daryl Wanberg. This show is copyright 2016 by Daryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.
Cash with the Cash Maniacs.